Let's crank it up. Let's fucking yeah.
Yeah, I can't hear it. Thank Doug for small favors. I guess that wouldn't exactly be right, because that would be good.
We are gathered here today for a memorial service for Dan's butthole.
We knew him well.
You knew my butthole well? Oh.
I did.
I mean, I act like an asshole. I don't know if that's the same thing.
I've spoken to it many times.
That's
Well,
my mouth. That's
regardless
my
of which
You
end
don't talk out of your mouth, no.
I was about to say, regardless of which end you're facing, it's always the same shit.
It's about right. Yeah, we had to postpone the recording. I'm sure many of you are terribly upset that this didn't drop like it's supposed to. But yeah, I overdid the food and alcohol last night and got up this morning and experienced a bad case of Mount Vesuvius.
Yep,
And,
that'll happen.
It was fucking awful. I hit the guys up. I was like, I can't. So, but we're all usually pretty good about it. None of us really skip out on it very often. So when one of us has to, it's not a big deal. Usually, Doug, it'll be like if your mom's in town or something on a particular week. And Adam has overslept a time or two, I think, back when he was on a less healthy schedule.
Yeah, go to bed at 6 a.m., wake up about 2 or 3. Yeah.
But I was up playing Apex Legends all night, guys. Like,
it was so much fun. Dude, you know what's a lot of fun? Is Roblox.
Oh, no, really?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
13, 12?
Why do you have to be a child to enjoy a good game? That's my question.
I figured that your next purchase would be something along the lines of grocery store simulator. And then you tell everybody how you're so excited to play grocery simulator because it comes with virtual coupons.
And you have the mega couponers coming through your line. Yeah.
Yeah, and you got 66 gallons of milk for 16 cents or some shit like that.
Like, you don't even use that barbecue sauce, but it was only 8 cents after the coupon. I've known people like that.
Roblox has gone the way of Gary's Mod, where people just make stuff and then you play it. And someone has made this Call of Duty Roblox game that is more fun than it should be. And it's free. So I've been playing it a lot today. And yeah.
So I came real close to buying a Nintendo Switch just because I'm kind of a jackass when it comes to that kind of stuff. Somebody will buy something and it's not like jealousy or anything like that, but I'll see it, versus you can watch a review of something and stuff like that. But then a buddy gets something, they're like, oh yeah, check it out. And you're like, ooh, that was kind of fucking neat, dude. God damn it. I was thinking about it and then I realized I was like, I won't use it. I just won't.
I've been switching it up.
TM. Yesterday, Valve dropped that, what was it called?
Steam Deck.
Yeah.
It's just a Switch. It's literally the exact same thing.
I'm curious to see how, my guess is that it's going to stream the games.
No, you install them to the console.
Really?
Yeah, as long as they have controller support, you can install them to the console off of Steam and play them.
But some of the games Gears of War, for instance, right? Was it 60 gig, something like that?
Yeah, but there's expandable memory.
Well, yeah, but I mean, at least 60 gig, right? So, point being is I'm curious how you're going to put that on a device the size of a tablet.
I mean, SSDs are getting pretty good. You could get a terabyte or two, and
that is true.
Some of the onboard storage is 256, and then you can expand it with an SD card now. Or a micro SD.
That is true, I suppose. But again, I can't imagine how it would have to down convert or something. Basically, my point is if the game's not made for a device like that, I don't see how it's going to run well.
Terribly. Yeah, it's going to run bad.
So you're going to wind up with the only thing I can think of is by opening up the platform, you might wind up with a bigger game selection, and that was one of the issues with the Switch for me, is that there were a couple of games that Metroid Dread, something like that, looked really cool. It did. The Zeldas looked cool, but I don't know that they'd hold my attention long enough to spend, $300-400 on a handheld device. So when I've got this ridiculous gaming machine, but again, it's like we've talked about. Sometimes I just don't want to sit at my damn. Excuse me, I don't want to sit at my damn desk playing a video game. It'd be kind of cool to sit on the couch, or like when you were a kid and you had a book. Well, Doug and I don't know if you've always had tablets and shit, probably.
Book. What's that?
Book, yeah, but you'd have a good book and you'd be like upside down reading it because it was a good book. And you didn't want to stop reading, but you couldn't sit in that position anymore, so you're like on your side.
I've had my ribs get sore. I'm not usually a lay down on my back and hold the book in front of me guy.
Yeah, but
I will lay down on my side or on my stomach or whatever else, and I have read books until I was physically sore from laying in that position and had to move.
Same. God, it's been a long time. One of the things that the progressive ADD took for me was being able to sit and read like I used to. I was a voracious reader as a teen, and it's the one thing that I miss. And people are like, "Oh, you just gotta do it and get back into practice." And
just do it, and you'll be good at it.
It's like, you don't understand. Even on the Ritalin, I think it was a little bit better when I was on Ritalin, but it wasn't great. I still had a really hard time. I don't enjoy the perks of hyperfocal disorder like Doug does.
Yeah.
It's got its pros and cons, right? I mean, he can definitely get into something and concentrate, but you could also walk into the room, make eye contact with him, exchange cookie recipes, and then he jumps and screams because he didn't know you were there. So, which is one of those things
I don't recall the exchanging cookie recipes part. But
you obviously didn't do the making eye contact part either, but
Yeah.
Yeah, there were some peanut butter cookies.
Things have happened.
Yeah, it's a lot of people that don't know about ADD. They assume that it's just that hyperactive guy or squirrel, which some days it is like that. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
But anyone who has listened to this podcast for more than an episode or two has gotten a pretty decent bit of exposure to what ADD is actually like in your adult.
That's true.
It really is. I mean, we're sort of a fucking case study on ADD. If you watch the way that Doug and I especially go around the fucking world to get to a point, that's actually ADD. In that each point reminds you of something else, and if you've had ADD for a while and you've learned to deal with it, you at least do come back around to where you were at. We've all seen that guy that goes poof, and you're like, what?
He just likes all the side quests.
God, I've been guilty of that.
And you have, and I have too. Like I said, but I was only diagnosed about 10 years ago. I mean, I'm just probably in the last few years getting decent at not controlling it, because you can't control mental illness. You learn to live with it like anybody does.
Right.
And you learn to live with, with ADD. And it actually has its superpowers. Waiting tables or any kind of job where you're scattered like that and you're in 1,000 different places is fantastic for people with ADD. One of the jobs that I had with the company that I'm with now required a lot of Excel, a lot of concentration, and a lot of focus. I fucking hated it.
And a lot of planning.
A lot of planning, which my ADD does not behoove planning, right? And these guys will tell you.
Does not either. That is why I am no longer in that position as well. Because it was 8 hours a day of structured hell with brief interludes of fun.
Yeah, and it for guys like us, that doesn't bode well. It doesn't work well.
For anyone that doesn't experience it personally, as far as, have diagnosed ADD like Dan and I both have, if you've ever been in a conversation and you got off on that side tangent, and you got so far off on that side tangent that you cannot remember what the original conversation was, you've experienced a brief moment of what I live with every day.
Absolutely. And that's what it's like. And we've all done that, where you've gone, what the fuck was I saying? When you have ADD, that happens in your brain like dozens of times a day. And you just learn to work around it. Like the planning part, Doug was always bad about being late we'd go do things, but it was because he would get sidetracked. He'd be doing something, he'd be like, oh, I got to go do the thing at 9. And then at 9, he'd go, what the fuck? Ah, fuck. So one of the things that Doug does now, I've noticed this recently, he uses his phone a lot and does a lot of reminders and a lot of calendar invites and things like that. And it keeps him on track. And I've actually been meaning to start doing that more myself. I do have a whiteboard in my kitchen, and I've taken the advice of a lot of experts, and I jot things down when I need to do something, where I need to go. And it feels tedious sometimes because, again, with ADD, your brain doesn't even want to concentrate on it that long, but it has helped. A lot of the technology now is there for folks, with ADD, anxiety, etc. There's a lot of technology out there now that can really help get you through some of it. The trailing off and the trailing off and the going around the world and stuff like that. They haven't created an app for that yet, and I don't know that they ever will.
It would be nice to hear your digital assistant, just like you're sitting there, you're rambling on, and your digital assistant goes, "Okay, Top Gun, let's bring this in for a landing."
Right? An AI that can start to determine when you've gone off the fucking rails. Hey Dan. Oh, yeah, Siri. Get to the fucking point. Oh yeah.
The point is that
there are a lot of people that, and a friend of mine now, she's just now learning about having ADD, and I saw it from a mile away, and it reminds me of when people. There was a short period of time where several people asked me, and they all lived with it. Like one had a wife that had ADD, one had kids that had ADD, and I had a funny story. I may have told this one before about I know you guys have heard of it, about so like in a span of 2 weeks, several people asked me, have you ever been treated? Have you ever had your ADD treated? I'm like, what? I don't have ADD. Squirrel. And I was in this guy's house when I was in the field working, and he kept offering me energy drinks. And he was your classic, like, German scientist villain guy. He had the little poof on his chin, and the little horn-rimmed glasses, and just stared at me a lot.
Walked around with this white cat.
Yeah, exactly.
And a notepad.
And a notepad. Got out the notepad. In a lab coat in his own house. And
here, have this energy drink.
Right? It was great, man. But he kept offering it, and it was kind of weird because people rarely. I don't remember ever being offered. It was a Mountain Dew amp. I'll never forget that.
It was good
and
shit.
They're good, actually.
Yeah, I don't make it anymore, but
I know, which is dumb. He keeps asking me if I want one, and I kept telling him no. And finally, he kind of cocks his head. He says, "It'll help with your ADD." And I'm like, "What?" And it turns out the guy was a retired brain surgeon. I think it maybe UAB. He was a retired brain surgeon who, like a year or so later, went back to school for psychiatry, kind of out of boredom, right? That's, those people. And
wouldn't that be nice?
Right, retire as a brain surgeon. His thing was he was kind of trying, because of his advanced knowledge of the physical part of the brain, and he was going into psychiatry and kind of learning that part of the brain, and he was sort of correlating the two. It was kind of neat talking to him. But that was the one. He's like, "Yeah, I've been sitting here watching you." He said, "You've got vicious ADD, dude. And I'm like, no, no way. But then all these other people had asked me. So I went to a psychiatrist and said, there's been some people ask me. And the guy's just grinning. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, dude. He's like, you've been all over the fucking place. The last 20 minutes you've been in my office, you're fucking
like, so
everywhere.
this one lady told me I had ADD, and then I was driving down the road, and weirdest thing, I passed this place. It looked like an old schoolhouse almost, and there were like 2 floors, but one was like fallen in on the corner or whatever. Anyway, back to the point. The horse that I saw on the way there.
Yep. Bingo. That's exactly what I was doing in the fucking office talking to this dude.
And like, so what do you think?
Right. And he's like already pulling the Ritalin out of the fucking drawer, like feeding it to me with Pez. And so he gave me the script for Ritalin, and it was really hard to get filled there in Alabama. It's a controlled substance, a highly controlled substance, and
it's hard to get filled anywhere.
Is it? I wasn't
amphetamines.
Sure yeah, I mean, it's amphetamine.
It was hard in North Carolina, and I haven't even tried in Colorado. But
no, I when we moved to Florida, we were down there in Naples, and none of the psychiatrists accepted insurance because it's a relatively wealthy, bougie fucking area, and none of the ones there in Naples, or I think even all the way up to Fort Myers. First thing out of my mouth after calling a few was, "Did you guys accept insurance?" No, okay, thanks, because they're like $300 an hour.
Do you accept insurance? Period. Not even my insurance.
That's what I would do. We wouldn't even talk about mine, and none of them did. They wanted cash, and so basically, I got irritated and just thought, "Fuck it, I'll deal with it," and I do, and I do use like the Red Bull and stuff like that. Part of the reason that I drink it is, especially in the morning, if I don't sleep. And Doug correlated this. We talked recently about when he doesn't sleep well, it triggers his ADD the next day. Like if he has a bad night of sleep the next day or two, he struggles more than if he does sleep well. And I thought, interesting.
It's with me, as long as I'm getting good sleep. And I discovered this after I got out of a job where sleep was a problem. I discovered that if, I got 6 to 8 hours of good sleep, that the next day I was able to at least be functional, somewhat stay on task. But if I had a lot of interrupted sleep or, like 5 hours, something like that, I was functional, but my productivity was in the toilet.
And Doug has a unique trait that I've not seen in anyone else as far as with ADD. If his gets really bad, he gets mean. Not like, go fuck yourself, I'll punch you mean, but very sharp-tongued and...
No. He pulled a gun on me the other day after he didn't get a lot of sleep.
I got 3 hours of sleep last night, motherfucker. And it's interesting. That's when I know that he's kicking really bad, is when not only is it difficult to follow where he's going, but more importantly, he'll get mean-spirited. And that's not Doug. Doug's not a mean-spirited human being. Like, I call him, Mama Hen or Mama Doug. Because you good? Do you need anything? Do you want me to like bring groceries to your house and put them away for you because you are otherwise indisposed? I mean, that's not something that a mean fucking person does. But you can see when he's just got that edge to him, and I'll talk to him and realize, okay, his brain is fucking spinning, and it's tough, man. People don't understand. We think it's funny. We call it, like, we make fun of ADD, we make fun of OCD and anxiety and in the movies and TV and comics and everything. But it's actually a complete and total pain in the dick.
Well, to be fair, I've always had the newest iteration of what they refer to it as is emotional intelligence. I watch and observe a lot of people. It's at almost a scientific level, to where I'm kind of doing a lot of analyzing.
Mm-hmm.
And when I get that mean streak, especially, God knows if it's like I'm still currently vaping. Well, obviously not right this second, or you'd hear it. But I'm still currently vaping. But I've had several periods in my life where I've quit nicotine in any form for various years. Now,
he's fun.
If I get off nicotine after about somewhere between a week and 10 days, when the last of it is literally slipping out of my system, that's when my evil side comes out of that. And the study of humans goes to a whole new level, to where I show you, this is the fucking 46 things that are wrong with you. And I present it in a format that makes people other than you laugh their ass off.
Yeah, he's a dick, but he's funny. Do you think, it's curious that you say that, right? And like I said, I can correlate when your ADD is kicking, you can get nasty.
Mm-hmm.
And you said nicotine, in particular, nicotine is a stimulant. Do you think that you self-medicate the ADD with nicotine somewhat? Or that it's a side effect, maybe?
It's some of it. One of the, because they've done various cognitive studies over the years around nicotine, where they would have people that would do things like smoke before they took tests, shit like that. And their scores were actually better. And it was weird because they said, we're kind of in a weird position to where somebody who's in cognitive decline, it could actually benefit them to start smoking, although the health risks don't really outweigh that, but it does appear to have some benefits.
Being that stimulants, certain stimulants will help to activate the part of the brain that doesn't activate very well in people with ADD. Excuse me. That would make sense, right? That things like that, and caffeine especially, because caffeine's another one where they've done those cognitive studies and done the MRIs and all that, and watched the brain change and activate in places. And then, right, you go do cognitive testing and then you've got slightly higher scores. You could also say, though, that if you were a smoker or a caffeine addict and you tried to make me concentrate without any fucking caffeine in my system, that it could be the result
it's a double-edged sword. One of the things that caffeine does, as opposed to more or less giving you a boost of energy, those things in your body that say it's time to sleep now, it sort of shuts those off.
Right.
So it's, the effect of an appropriately timed caffeine jolt in conjunction with good sleep makes your entire body say, I'm well rested and ready to roll.
So I had read about a couple of things as far as like sleep and cognitive ability and all that. And they called them coffee naps. And basically what you did is you got up, you had a cup of coffee, and then you went back to bed. And it starts with an A, that chemical that tells you, hey, basically, you need sleep. And caffeine binds with the receptors, and sleep actually breaks it down too.
Well,
so
considering
the concept.
The show, let's just call it the asshole, because it was, it starts with an A. We're going to call it the asshole thing.
The asshole thing that makes you tired.
Yeah, that asshole thing that makes you tired. We're going to call it the asshole hormone.
The asshole hormone. I like that.
Yeah.
So you would literally take a fucking nap after drinking coffee. I did it with Red Bull. I'd get up, slam a fucking Red Bull, crawl up back on the couch and set an alarm for about an hour. And more times than not, I'd wake up and feel pretty decent, like, And it's funny because people say, I couldn't do that. I couldn't drink caffeine and then just go right back to sleep. Then you don't have ADD. I can tell you right now, you probably do not have ADD, because I remember hell taking Ritalin and then going home and going back to bed. We do night maintenances in one of the jobs we worked, and there was one in particular. I got up and I drank my Monster, and I took my Ritalin, and I went down to work, and I was ready for the other like company to get there to do the thing, and I waited, and I'm like, start making phone calls. Oh yeah, we're not gonna be able to make it tonight.
Oh
Cool.
yeah, now that you called.
Yeah, it's 1 o'clock in the morning, you fucking dick. All right, cool. And I remember thinking, shit, man, between the Monster and the Ritalin, I'm fucked. So I went home and fucking laid down. I was like, I don't know, because the funny thing about it is, while I did have the caffeine and the Ritalin in my system, my heart rate was up and everything, my brain was quiet. My brain wasn't flipping the fuck out. I was in the now, as they say. And because of that, I was able to fall asleep. That's what people don't realize when you have, I've been diagnosed with depression, anxiety, OCD, ADD, and hypervigilance. And they really all kind of tie together. It sounds like a lot, but it's really kind of one thing. And it's a, lot of different symptoms. But my brain, I can't shut my brain off. I'll be laying there and I'm either thinking about something that happened in third grade or something that might happen a week from now or something that didn't happen, but I decided to just fucking focus on it anyway because the O and OCD is obsessive and that's what you do. I had a buddy of ours, we worked together in the data centers, and we were working. It's loud and kind of cold in those places, right? For obvious reasons. And we went out to the truck, and we're sitting there, and he and I hadn't worked together very long, but we got along pretty well. We're just sitting out in the truck, and he turns to me and he says, "Hey man, you care if I take a quick nap?" I was like, "No, man." And I just stood there and I was like, that was fucking impressive. And then a couple weeks later, another guy that we worked with asked, "Hey man, that new guy, you worked with him much?" "No, not really. Seems like a good dude, He says, "Is he narcoleptic?" And I just started laughing. I was like, "No, bro, he just has the clearest conscience of any man I've ever met in my life." I said, "Nothing. If he can't fucking deal with it right then and there, he don't care and he can sleep." And I've pretty much hated his guts for that my entire life.
Yeah, fuck him.
My ex-wife was the same way. She'd look at me and be like, "Yeah, it's time for bed." And she would get up, brush her teeth, lay down, and would be out before I could even walk into the bedroom.
She's not real. She's a robot.
Right? Who does that? Like, you have no conscience. You're a terrible person. You have no conscience. That's always been my thing, is that I lay there and ponder stupid shit. And some nights my head gets out of fucking control. But it is what it is. I mean, you learn to deal with it. Medication is an option for some people. It didn't work well for me. I had kind of all the side effects and almost none of the benefit of it.
Perfect.
Yeah, I gained a bunch of weight. Shit didn't bother me that probably should have. I mean, you can lithium yourself into a fucking coma and say, "Hey, this helped with my anxiety."
You can't be anxious if your brain doesn't work.
Exactly.
That's how like antidepressants work for me. It's like I didn't give a fuck about anything.
Yeah. And it's weird.
You're not depressed. I'm like, yeah, because I can't feel anything.
I can't feel anything. And that's what people don't realize, is that even though you're under the effects of the medication, there's still a part of your brain that knows something's not right. Like this is like too
a little
fucking
pee in
heavy.
the middle is like, something's wrong.
Yeah,
I'm in danger.
I can't. Right. I can't see past all this muck. What is going on?
You
here?
Can't feel anything, and you can't nut. Have fun. Thanks, doctor.
So I remember one of the sexual side effects was supposed to be erections, not being able to get erections, and I was on the meds for a couple weeks, and my ex and I were fooling around. I was like, "Woohoo!" Yeah, the problem was
2 hours later. Yeah, it's the worst.
Why can't I? And all the guys are there like, yeah, give me some of that.
Yeah,
Check.
I mean,
she doesn't like it either. 2 hours later, she's going, bro, you need to figure something out because I'm sore. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't. So you'd get to that point, and it was just like, nope. So yeah, that was something.
Welcome to my whole life. But anyway. Yeah, I love everybody talks about like that's a problem. But anyway, I've had a few I couldn't get rid of because of that. But anyway,
ladies,
all right.
Speaking of medication, when I was talking earlier about smoking, there was a doctor that they had given me Wellbutrin at the time to help quit smoking, and I took that for a while. And I absolutely hated it because it made everything in life monotone, sort of like Ben Stein's voice.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So I went in there to refill it, and it was like at a little local CVS, and there was a pharmacy tech behind the counter, and she filled the order for me. I said, I have no idea why I'm getting this. Said, I'm probably going to take it for a few more days and then stop this. She was like, why? I'd be like, you're an attractive woman. You could tell me right now, let's go in the back and I'm going to do things that are illegal in 45 states to you. And my response would be, okay, I guess if you wanna.
Right. And that is exactly antidepressants. It's just,
I have no doubt Doug said that either.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it came out exactly like that.
Doug says inappropriate shit all the time. It's one of the reasons I like taking him places. So, and I like introducing him to new people, and I'll tell him, I've described Doug this way for a long, long time. When you meet him, you're going to think that he's mentally retarded, but he's actually one of the smartest fucking people I've ever met. But the shit that comes out of his mouth, you talk about people talk about me not having a filter, and I don't really. And I wonder if that's an ADD thing. Like, I just always thought I was an asshole. Maybe it's ADD.
Well, it's, I've got these, it's like I said, I practically study people. I meet them. I'm watching all the little subtleties. I'm watching what they say. I'm listening to sort of what they don't say that their body's saying the whole night.
I thought I saw somebody outside my window last night, so that makes sense.
He's just gathering data, buddy. Nothing to worry about. Just gathering data.
It is fine. But so I try, it's like everybody has known someone with some sort of, I'm not going to say a physical abnormality, but just something about them that's different. And, I've been a fan of comedy for, I can't tell you how long. And when I'm observing somebody, the thing that's too glaringly obvious, I try not to go with that as a conversation opener. Like if somebody's short or they've got big ears or, and you've got so many people that they make that blatantly obvious observation. And then they just think they're so fucking hilarious because they think
like
they're
no one's ever seen the obvious thing.
Exactly.
Welcome to my world. You're short. No shit.
So I sit there, I wait, I do all the things, and then I throw something out that 99.99% of people would not have noticed. And it fucking catches them off guard. That or it's like, what can I say that will throw this person off kilter?
See, that's
my go-to is usually I'm going to shoot you right now if you don't give me $50.
Yeah,
that throws them off.
It really throws them off.
Arrested.
Yeah, it throws people off, but it throws them off, and that's what he's trying to do.
That's all that matters.
The hypervigilance kind of makes me do the same thing. I watch people, and like Doug, I watch for the unspoken things and the body language and stuff like that. And where I've used it, and Doug and I, and this is probably one of the reasons that we've been friends, is that we both see the same things a lot. And so we'll be talking and I'll bring up that thing like he's saying that 99.99% of the people don't see. And I'm like, hey, man, have you ever noticed? And he'll look at me and go, huh? And I'm like, I figured you did. I was like, we're just going to keep that guy in his box. We're just going to, because I've always been that guy that people will meet somebody and, oh, he's the greatest guy in the world. Oh, yeah, he's a fucktard. No, you're just jealous. You just don't like him and whatever. And I'm like, no, he's a fucktard. You'll see. And then 6 months down the line, he turns out to be a major fucktard. And it's like Doug said, it's just because I notice things that other people don't. And it's not something that I've practiced, or I've done this as far back as I can remember. And vice versa. If people, I don't like that guy. He's all right, man. He's okay. And it's because I ignore whatever that in your face thing is. Some of my best friends through the years have been people that I did not get along with when I first met them. And it's because you get caught up in that what's in your face at the moment situation. And once you get past that, you realize that a lot of times it's that's not the real them. I mean, we all put on the Japanese have not a saying, but I can't remember.
I think it's like
here we go.
Hentai.
Yeah,
I think is the thing you're thinking.
Yes, yeah. If you want to look that up, hentai, hentai, look that up, and
it's good. Follow up your query with tentacle. Tentacle.
It's the tentacle of how it wraps into your life, and
yes.
It's good. You should check it out.
Yes.
But they talk about the three faces, and I've actually wanted to get a tattoo on my forearm. It's the three faces, and it's the face that you show the general public, everybody that you meet. It's the face that you show your friends and family, and then there's the face that you never show anyone. And I guess it's kind of like the id ego and super ego too. But that always made sense to me because I do think that's kind of how most people are. I mean, when I meet people for the first time, I'm a little bit different, and then my friends and family get to see a different side of me. And I think that there's things that you just don't talk about with anybody, really. I mean, there's just shit that's in your own head that you don't talk about. That, I don't know.
I mean, if you shared every intrusive thought that came into your head, you'd be in a rubber room.
I think that's very accurate. Yeah.
You're like, hey, sir, how you doing? You're like, if I wanted to, I could stab you with this pencil in my hand right now, and you're drug you.
Well,
exactly.
Adam, I'm going to rebut that just a little bit.
Rebut.
It all depends on phrasing. Because you can say, and, I have,
well, you're good at this and I'm not. I'll say that much.
It's all about phrasing. It's like, say somebody just has a very punchable face.
I feel triggered. I feel attacked.
You can say something without it, having a direct threat. It's like, how have you gotten to this point without someone drowning you in a bathtub? You can say shit like that.
I do all the time.
Can say shit like
that. Doug and I both say shit like that all the time.
I'm like, whatever you want to do. Confrontation is scary.
And you could say things like, out of all the sperm that was in your father's nutsack, you were the one that won. How did this happen?
You were the fastest swimmer, huh?
I mean, can you just swim normally really fast? Because I don't see you being able to do anything else. Maybe you're your particular sperm was the Ryan Lochte of of the competition. He was a complete idiot, but he could swim like a motherfucker.
Right. Wasn't a lot of brain DNA weighing that fucker down, was there? So,
no.
And it's funny that you say that, Adam. We were talking about confrontation the other night. So I was talking to some friends about it, and I said that I avoid confrontation, and we were all talking about how, most people I think avoid confrontation, but everybody avoids it kind of for different reasons, and you and I have talked. Mine is because I go from zero to stab you in the fucking face in about 3.5 seconds. I have a real hard time keeping things in perspective when somebody starts to really confront me and get me going.
Yeah.
And typically it's bad. Typically that is not a good way to handle things, and it has not worked out well for me in the past. I'm getting better at it, and one of the ways that I've gotten better is by just avoiding it. When somebody's being a fucking asshole, I just walk away, because
Yep.
it's like, there's no way. I'm not going to change your mind. I'm not going to change your opinion. You're not going to see
Nothing
things my
good's
way.
going to come out of this. There's
right.
no point.
So I might as well just say, okay, because again, I also believe that nature rights everything at some point. Some people call it karma, whatever. Everything kind of balances itself out, and assholes like that will eventually get what's coming to them.
It's not really anything ephemeral like karma. It's more like a numbers thing where, like, if you mouth off to 500 people, one of them is going to knock you on your fucking ass.
Eventually,
three teeth out.
Yeah. Eventually, somebody's going to smack the fuck out of you.
Yeah.
And it's probably not going to be me. I don't remember ever getting into any physical altercations because of people running their mouths. I don't get physical until the other person does, or they start to threaten me, or I feel like
I have
okay,
like twice ever.
From just in general, like from people running their mouth, or
yeah.
I can't think of
suspended once from high school, so I was like, this probably isn't going to be a good thing to continue to do.
Well, that's kind of what being suspended is supposed to teach people. I think
It was cool though, because like my parents thought it was cool, so like I was just out of school for a few days, and they were like, "Yeah, that guy was a fucking dick," and I was like, "Right?" And they're like, "Yeah." So, see you when we get home from work. Bye. Just watch cartoons for 3 days and went back to school.
Fuck yeah. Well, and honestly, if I had kids, I would definitely tell them, don't ever start shit. Don't ever let me find out you were picking on people or starting shit.
Yeah.
But by God, if somebody does and you need to smack the fuck out of them, do it and do it right. I mean, because you're going to get suspended. We're probably going to get in trouble.
If you hit them once, you're going to get suspended, and if you hit them 17 times, you're also going to get suspended. So
you might as well make a name for yourself. My junior year, I quit school, and then I went back the next year, and some of the same bullies that were there were still there. Shocker. And I had always been a quiet, mousy type. I didn't fight back or anything. And I don't know what happened over that year. I guess my balls dropped. And I wound up going after one of them with a fucking biology book, because this is what I had in my hand, and it just seemed like a great weapon.
First time Dan used it the entire semester.
Pretty fucking much. I still didn't open it. I just wanted that binding on the back. And I dented a locker because I swung it at him and missed. And I dented the fucking front of a locker. And the look on his face, I'll never forget the look on his face, because it was of abject horror. The concept that I did this, and what would have happened had I caught him across the bridge of the nose like I was trying to. And I got into some trouble over that. And they were like, yeah, they sent me home or whatever. And I just never went back. I was like, nah, fuck it. No. High school's dumb anyway. But I got my GED, we're a pretty exclusive club. I laughed as I took my GED. Audibly had the instructor walk over and look at me funny, because as I was taking the test, I just laughed that this was considered an equivalent to.
And they have to. You can't ask someone if they have a GED or a high school diploma. You just have to ask them if they have either one.
Yep.
It's 100% the same thing.
Yep.
The fucked up part about that for me is, with a GED, I don't look down on that, because I've seen people who've turned around, went through the entirety of high school, passed all the tests, and they're still fucking idiots.
Yep.
So the fact that you've got a piece of paper that's slightly different than someone else's piece of paper,
right?
If you can read and write legibly,
right? That's about all high school fucking did.
And you can count to 10, hey, it seems like that's all we're doing nowadays. I mean, because honestly, what I would really like, two things that I would really like to see taught in high school that will never be taught in high school, is critical thinking and financing.
Oh yeah.
they won't. They'll never teach those in high school.
No.
I mean, because you know, and you would think with a name like Home Economics that it would actually be about economics as opposed to cooking and sewing buttons on your fucking shirt.
Which, you know, I'll be honest with you, I think that they should push to that more too. Just because I've known people, still to my age, that can't cook, clean, or fucking iron a shirt, and it's not completely their fault because I think some of that trickles down from your parents, right, and your family.
Fuck ironing a shirt.
Just buy a new shirt.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need to.
When it gets wrinkly, just buy a new one.
They have wrinkle-free shirts out there. It's like you wash them and then you just pull them out. Are they perfect? No. But I fall into the category of fuck it. It's close enough because you know, I've never once in my life you know, let's say I went out and had some shirts professionally dry cleaned. It never got my dick sucked. I'll tell you that right now.
That's how we rate. Like,
you got to go to a different dry cleaner for that,
right? How many times has this gotten my dick sucked? Well, nope. That's, you know, the minimalism where you hold the thing and you say, "Does this bring me joy?" So this is Doug's version of that.
Does this suck my dick?
Did this get my dick sucked?
Did this get my dick sucked?
Out the fucking door, into the trash it goes.
Get rid of that shit.
I want to find Doug's Yelp account.
The meatballs were good, but I didn't want to suck anybody's dick afterwards.
It's like the fried chicken was on point. However, it didn't get my dick sucked. 3 stars.
3 out of 5. Fuck out of here.
Then there's the angel titty mashed potatoes.
Yeah,
Buca de Peppa.
Yeah. For those of you that are not familiar with my everyday Dougisms, when a dish is particularly appetizing in a somewhat magical way, I refer to it as an angel came down and put her titty in it.
And yeah, the mashed potatoes at Buca de Peppa definitely.
Yeah, at least at the one in Charlotte.
Fair enough. Yeah, that and the Diablo chicken that they got rid of because they're fucking horrible people.
Yeah, and their Florentine garlic bread as well. That was fucking amazing. You know,
we do some damn Buca de Peppa. Yeah, so now I know that if it didn't get Doug's dick sucked, it was mediocre at best. But I mean, everybody has to have benchmarks in their lives.
That's their line, I think.
So
everyone has their own line.
Everyone has their own line.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just don't even know where I'm having a hard time segueing that.
Yeah, you know, leave it. See, this is where my ADD flourishes. See, I just come in like a wrecking ball and just blow shit apart.
What a lot of people don't know is that Doug used to work for the CIA, dismantling entire governments overseas.
They just sit him down in a room with people and
they're like, here's the war room, and he's like, let me do my thing. I'll be back in 5.
But did those tanks get your dick sucked? No, they didn't.
No.
So just pull them out of there. Just take them out. You don't need them. They're useless.
It's like, yes, you may be a third world dictator. You know, you may have ultimate power in your country, but when you left, did it get your dick sucked? You know?
Did it? Exactly. Might as well just step down now.
I mean, come on.
Might as well just step down.
What we'll do is we'll go ahead and just give you $2 billion. $2 billion will get your dick sucked all day long to the point where it's raw. There will be legions of whores after your $2 billion that couldn't give a fuck about your little piddly country.
Man, Doug has solved war and conflict across the globe, man.
Ultimate negotiator.
Just get them some money, get their dick sucked, and good to go.
Just fucking legions.
Legions of whores.
Yeah. Can you imagine? Let's say that I've got $2 billion and I announce that I am going to be in location X looking for someone to spend the rest of my life with. We'll go ahead and use those air quotes. There would be legions of whores that would form on the mountaintop, like it was some epic battle scene, all painted up in fucking war paint, fucking bikini.
Braveheart's gonna come suck your dick.
80s.
Yeah, there you go.
And they're just gonna run over the hill. With it, as opposed to like a battle axe, they'll have like a dildo or something. I don't know. Just and come out there and just like throw you down, and then you get your dick sucked right there.
Hell yeah!
I've seen it happen. Yeah.
Mel Gibson's got nothing undone.
Seen it happen.
Freedom! Oh, blurk. Boy, we went off the rails on that one, didn't we? Well, not really. I mean,
not any more than usual.
I was gonna say, you go back and listen. It's like, it's really not any worse than typical conversation between us. So,
nope.
Are we calling it?
I mean, at this point, again, I just don't know how to segue into anything else. So, yeah. That's it. Take that one with you and chew on it.